I just need to start today by being very clear about something. If you are looking for royal rota propaganda, you have come to the wrong place. I'm just going to be very blunt about that because I've seen the criticism and I don't mind if you want to go and watch Palace Confidential and you want to hear Rebecca English and Richard Eden report talking points that are delivered directly to them by the Director of Communications for King Charles. If you want that and that is what you prefer, then that's fine. But today I'm going to stand by my journalism, which I have a track record of when it comes to the royal family. For example, breaking for the first time when all of those members of the royal rota were saying Meghan Markle is beloved and is acting like a gem behind the scenes of the royal family, when indeed the Queen, the late Queen and Catherine had already accused her of bullying. That's what you're going to get from me, the truth about what's really going on behind the scenes. So you have a choice. And I am completely honest, I'm not offended. I am not offended. I love you being here. I love you being part of the community. But I do journalism, not propaganda, and I always have. And I am a monarchist and I love the British royal family. But today I will report that the royal family is in crisis as the King's top aide, Sir Clive Alderton, quits after a very vicious battle behind the scenes about whether Prince Harry and Meghan Markle should have a place going forward in the British royal family. Sir Clive Alderton, who Prince Harry referred to as the Wasp in his autobiography Spare, has, I believe, been standing up for what is right when it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, saying that it is absolutely essential that they do have no future role in the British royal family. His deputy, Theo Rycroft, has for some time, as we have reported on this show, been propagating for an alternative route, a reunion, a return to the fold. And King Charles has sided with him because King Charles is weak when it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And again, I'm honest with you about that. I was the first to report that the King had terminal cancer, and I understand from a human perspective why he desperately needs to feel like he is returning Prince Harry to the royal fold so he can be seen and have a legacy as a great uniter, as someone who puts family first, forgiveness first, blood first. But it's a mistake, okay? Just like it was a mistake when King Charles decided to return Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and Sarah Ferguson to the fold. This is a mistake. Briefing to the Sun newspaper that you are offering up Buckingham Palace, the spiritual home of the British monarchy, to the two most hated people connected to the British royal family, in Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, is a mistake. And Clive Alderton knew it was a mistake. Fresh Harry and Meghan updates every single day. Yes, the ones the Montecito Mafia and MSM don't want out there. Subscribe to Outspoken for daily royal coverage. It's completely free. And if you want to believe the propaganda, then you also believe that at 59 years old, Sir Clive Alderton, a healthy, vibrant man, is some type of decrepit figure who has to go and retire the moment he turns 60. Wake up! Welcome to the real world. It's 2026. People don't retire if things are going well, when they're in one of the most powerful jobs in the world. As is often the case, he has been forced out because there is a significant fundamental disagreement between him and the King. Now, my reporting on this, and by the way, I'm not the only one reporting on this. As you know, Tom Sykes of The Royalist has been very much across this story. And today, Rebecca English, who is the head of the Royal Rota, is describing us as conspiracy theorists. Here's the post. And this is the lowest of the low, by the way, because can I just say, conspiracy theorists are usually truth tellers. If you've followed my reporting for a number of years, you will know a whole load of my conspiracy theories in regards to anything from Meghan Markle to COVID, to the Islamist takeover. I mean, conspiracy theorists are usually just first. But this is what she said. News from Buckingham Palace. Ignore the conspiracy theorists. This is actually a very personal decision. In today's Daily Mail, Sir Clive has been the King's silky smooth gatekeeper for 20 years and will be missed by many, just not His Majesty's youngest son or Andrew Mountbatten Windsor for that matter. So this is what the mainstream media are doing. They are trying to suggest that this is all just because he is standing down around his 60th birthday in May. The Establishment Times reported this too. Alderton, who has a remuneration package of around £300,000 a year, has received plaudits for helping smooth the transition of the change in reign. He has helped the king deliver some of his most significant speeches, including his address to Congress on the state visit to the US in April this year, and a landmark speech in Berlin when in 2023 Charles became the first British monarch to address the Bundestag. The palace said that the king and queen were deeply grateful for Clive for his tireless support and wise counsel over the years, and for the enduring loyalty that will ensure a smooth transition to his successor. Okay then, why is he going? Why is he going? If it's so great and he's been so brilliant, why is he going at 59 years of age? Some of you understand what's going on. Larissa Boner posting, if Theo Rycroft replaces him, a diehard Timo Royal supporter, oh Lord, it will be better for Prince William to buckle up, because this means that Judas will be fully back. And that's what this is about. Now, the palace is saying there will be a competitive hiring process in terms of the person to replace Clive Alderton, but the smart money is on Theo Rycroft, who is in favour of a full-blown reunion, a total return to the royal fold for Prince Harry. Some commentators are with me, though. Lee Cohen, regular royal writer for The Spectator and The Daily Telegraph, based out of the US, added, agree with Dan Wootton, I am 100% pro-monarchy and completely supportive of the king as its current custodian, but how can coddling and enabling dangerous Prince Harry ever benefit the institution? It's difficult to maintain respect if the Sussexes are not dealt with decisively. Do you agree? Well, of course I agree. But I will just say, there are some people who want to believe that talking about this or questioning this in some ways makes you anti-monarchy or anti-royal family. Well, I put it to you that it's quite the opposite. I mean, if I just shut up about what Meghan Markle was really doing behind the scenes of the British royal family, I think it would have been a lot worse. If I just shut up about the fact that she was lying about racism within the British royal family, it would have been a lot worse. Actually, sunlight is the best disinfectant. These debates about whether Prince Harry and Meghan Markle should return need to be taking place in public, because the king should be listening to his subjects on that matter, just like the king should be listening to his subjects on the matter of Christianity versus the Islamic faith, which is a whole other story, which we won't get into today, but you understand the point that I'm making. Let me bring in Paula Frolick of Paula Frolick Uncensored. So, Paula, as you can tell, I'm quite passionate about this today because I find it pretty frustrating that people seem to believe that real reporting means that in some way you are turning on the British royal family. No, I'm doing this real reporting because I think Prince Harry and Meghan Markle pose an existential threat to the British royal family. So let's go through this because there's a lot to cover off, Paula. I believe this is a real crisis. Rebecca English of the Daily Mail just says, ignore the conspiracy theorists. There's nothing in this departure, Paula, that is at all unusual. He's just going because he's turning 60 next year. Do you believe that?
No, not at all. This is ridiculous. Now, granted, he did give a very long term. He's not leaving until 2027, but apparently that's how you Brits like to do it. In America, we give 2 weeks, walk out, see you later. But absolutely not. After what has happened in the last even 2 months, much less 6 months, it's quite clear that the king is doing what he always does, which is when somebody disagrees with him and doesn't kind of kowtow to him, he gets rid of them.
The British royal family is facing a full-blown internal crisis today after King Charles's top senior advisor, Sir Clive Alderton, has officially quit his post in a high-stakes palace showdown. This isn't just standard administrative turnover. Insiders reveal he walked away following a fierce, behind-the-scenes battle over King Charles's secret plan to bring Prince Harry and Meghan Markle back into the royal fold. Sir Clive Alderton, famously dubbed the Wasp by Prince Harry in his memoir Spare, has served as the king's principal gatekeeper for 2 decades. He stood as the palace's leading hawk, firmly arguing that Harry and Meghan pose an existential threat to the crown and must be permanently shut out. But now he is out, and taking his place at the top of the palace hierarchy is his deputy, Theo Rycroft, the court's chief dove, who is actively pushing for a full family reunion. From the shocking offer for Harry to stay inside Buckingham Palace to secret invitations for a summer retreat at Balmoral, the gates are swinging wide open. Now, mainstream media outlets and palace PR spokespeople are attempting to downplay the news, framing it as a standard retirement because Sir Clive is turning 60 next year. But royal observers are calling out that narrative. At 59, Holding one of the most powerful administrative positions in the Commonwealth, top courtiers do not simply walk away when things are going smoothly. Alderton earned his nickname the Wasp because he was sharp, unyielding, and fiercely protective of institutional boundaries. When Prince Harry attempted to line up lodging during previous UK visits, it was Alderton who blocked access and maintained a strict policy against coddling the Sussexes. His resignation marks the total collapse of the palace's hardline faction.
100%. And you could argue, Paula, he has every right to do that. He is the king.
He does.
He is the king.
He
and
does.
it is very important that the men in the grey suits agree with him. And this is one of the issues that I've had for quite some time, Paula, when people like Prince Harry try and say, oh, the men in grey suits, they're doing things that the late Queen didn't want them to do, or they're making the king do something. No. You fundamentally misunderstand the point of what these courtiers are there to do. They are there to do what the principal, so be it the late Queen or King Charles or Prince William, wants them to do.
Yeah, you're not right. I'm so sorry. You are not wrong. However, Charles doesn't really listen to anyone, except with the massive exception of the public when they boo him. He doesn't look at polls. He doesn't look at how unpopular Harry, Meghan, and even he are. He does not care. The only thing he really cares about is when he's doing a walkabout and people come up and boo him and hold up signs as to what they are angry about. Only then has he actually said, okay, let's take action. Look at what happened with Andrew. And also, look at what has happened every time he's been booed. That's the only time he actually makes a change. It does not matter that Clive has told him in the past, don't do this. This is not the right thing to do. How about this? How about that? No, he's gotten much closer to people who kind of kiss his royal bottom.
The other thing that I notice a lot of, Paula, is people, and I do understand this, by the way, I understand the psychology of it. People who love the British royal family, people who really want to keep the faith in King Charles, because it's quite a fundamental thing, especially for Brits. It's like, we don't want to be treacherous or traitorous, and we want to back our head of state, and we want to believe he's doing the right thing. And so I'm seeing a lot of people sort of insisting online, oh no, of course Charles doesn't want Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to stay at Buckingham Palace. Oh, of course Charles isn't inviting them to Balmoral. And it's like, wake up. He is. So you can either say, we accept that that's his decision as a father, but to just say it's not happening, you've got to be careful, because Prince Harry came perilously close, Paula, to being at Buckingham Palace when that Daily Mail court decision was announced. And it was only wise heads like Sir Clive Alderton who were able to quickly withdraw the offer on the technicality that Prince Harry hadn't accepted in time. But that might not be the case next time, because both sides, Paula, both sides are now briefing that the next visit will be accepted in time and that Harry will stay at Buckingham Palace. So again, you can say, oh, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. Well, I think it might. I think it might.
I think it will. No, it will. And there's several reasons why it will, Dan. Number one, this has always been the offer on the table for Harry. For TikTok, the last 6-8 years, all right? They've always said, you give us enough time, we can overlook your security. If not, you can stay at a palace, which will always have security. Harry has always said no, because Harry is still fighting for... Well, he was still fighting for Ravik. I believe what happened at Highgrove is that he promised his father he would not appeal the case against the Daily Mail. Of course, he doesn't have the money to do that, and that he will also stop fighting with Ravik in his father's courts. So the Buckingham Palace has always been on the table. He's just now deciding to accept this because, frankly, he's run out of options, and also there is, as you pointed out, there's nothing more royal, more symbolic than Buckingham Palace. And for Harry and Meghan to be seen on the steps of Buckingham Palace, well, that does say, guess what? We are royal. Both things they need. So there's that. The other thing is, Balmoral. If you look at Meghan's carousel of holiday photos, there was one suspicious photo on a lake. Not at Althorpe, not on that little tiny lake that holds Princess Diana's island, but on an actual loch. And that was a kind of a little morsel crumb of, hey, guess what? We're going to Balmoral. Now, I have reported in the past that no way will William be in the main house, and no way does he ever want to go back to Balmoral if Harry and Meghan are there or invited to the main house. There's the pick. But he doesn't care. Harry is all about Harry. Prince Charles is all about Harry. We know how he felt about Harry. It was sadly he was not vying for anyone's attention, i.e., his mother, Queen, with Harry. Harry was just the good lark about lad. There's another point I wanted to bring up that you were talking about. People saying, oh, you're anti this, or you're pro Meghan, or you're pro Harry, or you're anti monarchist. This is baloney. And people need to understand that as reporters, we listen to both sides. We can call things out. But at the same time, I've had people on my show, Paula Froelich Uncensored, like Alison Boshoff. Obviously, Tom Sykes, he's a good friend of mine. And people get very angry and they go, oh, I can't listen to this. Well, I say you need to listen because Alison and Tom are right down the middle reporters. They are not cheerleaders. They're not on any royal rotas. They are simply reporting what people in Harry and Meghan's camp are saying. And we all need to know that because we know how manipulative they are. We need to know exactly what they want because we're going to start seeing the palace bend to that in a hot little second.
Yeah,
so for everyone who says, I don't want to hear this, too bad you need to hear it because it's about to happen. And same thing for you when you talked about Megxit. People were like, no way.
Yeah, and even before that, actually, it was like, well, who do you want to trust? Okay, who do you want to trust? Do you want to trust the reporters who for years were telling you that everything was okay with Meghan Markle in the royal family? Or do you want to trust the people who actually broke ranks and revealed what was really going on? So Tom Sykes, who you mentioned, of the Royalist Substack, I think it is worth sharing his reporting on this, which has wound up so many people, because he says Clive Alderton's exit, and this is what people don't want to hear, is a huge win for the Bring Back Harry party captained by the King. And this is his reporting, Paula. Tom Sykes writes, the news that Sir Clive Alderton, King Charles's principal private secretary, is standing down from his role after 20 years of royal service is a huge win for the Bring Back Harry party, captained by the King himself, to which Alderton has long been a leading member of the opposition. I've been talking for some time about the rise of the court's chief dove, Theo Rycroft, Alderton's deputy, who is now in pole position. Alderton, of course, was famously nicknamed the Wasp by Harry in his memoir Spare. As the King's principal private secretary, he controls the King's diary and was very much the man in grey suit that Harry had in mind when last year, after details of his supposedly private tea with Charles at Clarence House leaked to the media, Harry's camp came out swimming. The quotes attributed to the Duke, his spokesperson said, were pure invention fed, one can only assume, by sources intent on sabotaging any reconciliation between father and son. Harry blamed the men in grey suits for the leak. The Royalist has been ahead of the game on this story, but it has been gossiped about for several months now. There is a reason it has been so difficult for my colleagues in the UK legacy media to report, although it has been widely known in royal circles for some time now that Alderton was deeply unhappy with the direction of travel of Charles's Harry policy. Reporters cannot afford to anger the King's press office, headed by another hawk, Tobin Andre, or they risk being cut off. For many, that is simply too big a risk to take. I have been reporting for some time on the increasing influence of Rycroft, and although Buckingham Palace is briefing that there will be a competitive recruitment process open to internal and external candidates, most people understand that Rycroft, in the natural order of things, should take over the role. That is how these things usually work. The King has, we learn too, now forgiven, and Paula, this is new reporting, forgiven and invited Harry, Meghan, and the two children to Balmoral. This from Sarah Louise Robertson. Okay, so that's Sarah Louise Robertson, Paula Frolic. She is how would you put it, a sort of GB News Daily Mail adjacent personality. Again, a lot of people are immediately dismissing her reporting as untrue. But again, when you look at the wider context of what's going on, it's hardly a surprise, is it, that Charles will at the very least have suggested a visit.
With Clive Alderton stepping aside, the power inside Buckingham Palace has shifted directly into the hands of his deputy, Theo Rycroft. Rycroft is widely recognized inside court circles as the leader of the Bring Back Harry faction. Sources indicate that Rycroft's influence is driving King Charles's desire for a public reconciliation. For Charles, Dealing with ongoing personal health battles, the personal urge to see his son and connect with his grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet, has taken precedence over institutional caution. And the concessions are mounting fast. Not only has Harry been offered lodging at Buckingham Palace for his September UK appearance, but new reports from royal journalists confirm that King Charles has forgiven the couple and extended a formal invitation for Harry, Meghan, and the kids to spend time at Balmoral Castle in Scotland later this summer. In fact, eagle-eyed observers noted that Meghan Markle recently slipped a subtle photo of a Scottish loch into a holiday photo carousel, a classic Sussex breadcrumb hint that the trip to Balmoral may already be in motion. But this move has created immense tension with Prince William.
Or, by the way, did they already go? Again, look at Meghan's photos from the summer vacation. There was a clear picture of a lake in Scotland.
So you think it is possible that as well as Highgrove, they also made a trip to Balmoral on the most recent visit for the Invictus Games? That is at least a possibility.
I think it's a possibility. Definitely a breadcrumb from Meghan.
Do you think King Charles is making a mistake here?
Yes, it depends. I say, on one hand, my heart says, well, he wants to hang out and meet his grandchildren. And obviously, it's been laid down. You either accept Meghan, you accept me back, or the grandchildren. However, on the other hand, no, you can't have half in, half out. He already made that agreement. You cannot rework it, as I wrote, into a new Highgrove agreement where he can go and do whatever they want in the States and then come back and be a private, happy family in the UK. The other reason is, frankly, Meghan doesn't know how to behave or treat people. So are we going to start setting our clocks as to how many people in the palace are upset and wounded and hurt by her actions towards them?
The thing is, this has been described now, Paula, as Harry and Meghan's distraction tour. And it does really feel like the king is playing into this, because let's just think, Paula, about all of the failures. I mean, the failures are piling up. And actually, this should be a moment where, in my view, and again, this is my opinion, where Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, are winning the day. It's like disastrous court case against the British government, failed. Disastrous court case against the Daily Mail, failed. Commercial failures, like let's do exile. But it was Sabera Lone who's come up with this term that Harry and Meghan are on a distraction tour. And she wrote on X, let's remember H&M are on their distraction tour. Cannot also forget visa documents should be coming out as well. Hopefully they're not all blackened out, and there will be some stuff in there showing exactly what visa he's on and what type of protection he's received coming into the United States. She then posted this. Newsweek reports this triggered an examination of 307 documents, totaling 2,487 pages, which authorities have been working through for months and are scheduled to start making public towards the end of July. This latest development may provide a fresh perspective into how Harry is discussed within the US government. Now, of course, Paula, we have covered the Newsweek case in the past, and that is, sorry, not the Newsweek case, the Heritage Foundation case, which is in regards to Prince Harry's visa documents. But if you look at this from a macro perspective, what is very clear is that they are on a distraction tour. They're leaking constantly all over the propaganda media, like Newsweek and People magazine, about, Portugal and the kids' upbringing. And it's like Charles is giving them the ultimate out, when actually I think this should have been the moment where Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were facing a very, very public reckoning for their appalling behaviour over the past 8 years. Instead, I think Charles is really saying, oh, don't worry about that. Here's your new path.
This shift leaves Prince William isolated as the sole remaining hardliner within the core family dynamic. William's long-standing fear has always been that his father's emotional sentimentality would undermine the stability of the monarchy. William remembers the firm precedent set by Queen Elizabeth II. When faced with catastrophic scandals surrounding Prince Andrew, the late Queen stripped him of his patronages, military titles, and official roles to protect the long-term integrity of the crown. She separated personal maternal affection from her constitutional duty. By offering Buckingham Palace and Balmoral retreats to Harry and Meghan while they continue to wage legal battles and public media campaigns, critics argue King Charles is blurring those essential boundaries. It signals to the world that you can attack state institutions, air private family grievances on global television, and still retain premier access to the royal realm. Why are Harry and Meghan so eager to accept these royal olive branches now after years of criticizing the institution? Commentators argue this sudden shift is part of a calculated distraction tour aimed at steering attention away from mounting commercial and legal setbacks in the United States. In the U.S., the Department of Homeland Security has been ordered to review hundreds of pages of documents related to Prince Harry's visa application following high-profile legal challenges regarding his past drug disclosures. On top of that, Meghan's commercial ventures, from luxury product lines to awkward guest appearances on shows like MasterChef Australia, have faced lukewarm public reception and sluggish sales. By re-engaging with the royal family and securing high-profile appearances on palace grounds, the Sussexes regain the royal aura essential for their global brand. But with Sir Clive Alderton gone and court doves taking control, the crown risks becoming a backdrop for Sussex PR. The resignation of Sir Clive Alderton marks a massive turning point in the history of the modern monarchy. With the king's top gatekeeper gone and Theo Rycroft's steering policy, the path for Harry and Meghan's return is clearer than it has been in years. Is King Charles making a tragic mistake that compromises the future of the crown, or is he doing the right thing as a father? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. I want to read every single perspective. If you appreciate unfiltered royal coverage, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a breaking update.